Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hustle and Hoops Pod. For the first time in a minute, we got the whole crew back together, all four of us. So this we're right in the middle, right towards the tail end, honestly, of these conference final series. So we got a lot to talk about there, but we're also going to dive into the All NBA and awards races because the ballots are officially out. So without further ado, toss it over to you guys. How's everyone doing today? Anyone got anything to say right off the bat before we get into it?
Let's get this shit.
All
What
right.
is going on? We're back.
I like the energy. That's really great energy coming from JD.
Absolutely love it, JD. Love it.
All
Love
right.
it, JD.
So without further ado, let's just get right into the games. It's not a lot to talk about because these are some of the worst conference finals matchups, or at least game watchabilities in recent memory. Especially after the first and second rounds, honestly, were pretty good. But start off in the East, we got the Heat and the Celtics. I personally, those games have been taking place on the days that the Panthers have been playing, so I've not been able to watch those games nearly as much. But now that the Panthers are out, I finally got to catch a full game yesterday, yesterday. And let me tell you, that shit was awful. That was hard to watch. Both teams cannot shoot the ball. Every single shot the Heat took was either an air ball or a brick, it felt like. Doesn't seem like they got one guy they can go to because Jimmy is obviously injured. The Celtics, on the other hand, have three of their top five guys who are visibly injured, and they're getting carried by Al Horford, who's 80. So
Depoy
someone,
Al Horford.
yeah, someone take this from
He's
me before I get even
he's
more
Eastern
upset.
Conference Finals MVP is what is
Oh,
And
right,
don't
right.
be
the proper
surprised.
award would be.
Larry Bird Eastern Conference
Or
Finals
sorry,
MVP.
I don't know why I said LeBron. Well, I mean I know why I said it, but
I don't
yeah,
even think you said LeBron James, but
did I? Oh,
no, you just
No,
said
good
Eastern
point.
Conference
I
MVP.
thought LeBron James though.
Yeah. Well, it could have been named after him.
Probably should be named after him, but give it 10 years.
don't
Sorry,
be
Mindy, you were
surprised if Al Horford is the Finals MVP if they win. Just because obviously they have to win for him to get Finals MVP, but I think he's the most healthy on the team. He is the most experienced on the team, and he seems to want it the most on the team. He's putting in 100% effort every night. He's carrying them through these Eastern Conference Finals, not fully, but he's the one that's playing consistently well. And we will be giving him his flowers right now because he's putting in the work.
Yep.
He's been discussed as the best defensive player in this playoffs next to Draymond. And a little conversation we had last night is, let's say that Celtics win the championship and let's say Al Horford performs and wins this finals MVP. Can the man make the Hall of Fame?
Well, when I proposed that question yesterday, I was thinking like, is he at the current moment a Hall of Famer? Because I think if he wins the chip, he's automatically in. I think he might be able to sneak in without that chip, though, is what I'm saying. That's what I was saying about Al.
That I
I
don't
mean,
know if I
there's an
agree
argument
with.
to be made about the combination of his later years minus the Sixers year, included with the Atlanta Hawks run slash 2-3 years of being decent. There's something to say about that. I mean, he has been steadily a defensive anchor, you could say, for most of the teams that he's played for throughout his career. I don't know. I think he needs the chip, in my opinion.
So do I.
All right, you ready for his resume? He's a career 14.8 rebound, 3 assist guy. He's got 950 career regular season games. He has played 14 seasons in the NBA, including looks like 13 playoff years, which is pretty impressive. He's a 2-time national champion in college,
Doesn't matter.
5-time All-Star. It does matter.
It does
5-time
matter.
All-Star, 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA, third All Rookie team, and a 1-time All Defensive second team. So he's got the longevity. He's a 5-time All-Star, which is I'm pretty sure that's probably a pretty exclusive club. 5-time All-Star, all rookie, which you got to have. All NBA once, all defensive team
You
once.
gotta have. I don't know if that many people care too much about all rookie teams.
I think it helps.
Yeah, of course. I think any award helps, but I don't think it means that much.
The basketball reference similarity scores, if you're familiar with those for the career, he's on par with guys like Alonzo Mourning, Marc Gasol, Bill Laimbeer, Jack Sikma, Wes Unseld, Dikembe Mutombo, Dave Cowens. Almost every one of those guys I named was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is that championship. Like, I think you'll always have that argument on that Hawks team where it was the three-headed snake with him, Corver, Teague, and then they had somebody else I forgot. But
Paul
I
Torian
think,
Prince.
oh yeah, Millsap, right?
Torian
Yeah.
Prince.
That was a young Torian. And then I was just gonna say on that team, he was arguably the best, and he was easily their anchor. And then you send him to Boston, and he was like the rat in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, bringing up Tatum, Smart, Brown. He was the veteran bringing them up, and then he left, came back, and now they're all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's old, but he's still that vet.
I know what you're
So,
talking about.
Yeah, Master Splinter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Master
but is,
Splinter.
I feel like Isaiah Thomas is a little bit more of a master splinter to me, but
Well, yeah, but Al's
he's not
back.
playing with them right now, so it's not like comparable. But I know what you're saying.
yeah.
But I think to end my point,
Did
I would
Master
just
Splinter
say-
leave and come back? He pulled the.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even
That's
know. I
what
haven't seen that
that's
stuff in
what you-
so long. But it's just like he's there with them now as they're older, and IT is in Charlotte. But to end my point, I think, like we said earlier, he needs that championship, and then he's in, and that's what it's gonna take.
I think he's in. I think he's
To
in
Shu's
already.
point, there were some guys on the list he just said that were Hall of Famers that did not end up getting a championship. So, there's still
Definitely
a
debatable.
chance. Yeah, there's still a chance for sure.
I think this postseason run is the defining moment of that postseason career, or of that Hall of Fame career, because he's playing some of the best basketball he's played ever.
Offensively, ever.
If he
Offensively,
gets if he gets something like an Eastern Conference Finals MVP or a championship or a Finals MVP or all three, then we'll have something to remember this big playoff run by. So I
Yeah.
think it's huge for him to get at least one of those accolades added onto his resume, because this is the best basketball I've ever seen him play, and we want something to remember it by.
Yeah, I will say it's freaking rigged if
Tatum wins it.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like because Al Horford is putting up a decent amount of points, but even so, like I don't even know what I just said. Like Al Horford's putting up a decent amount of points, but like Tatum and Brown are probably still outscoring him for the series.
Right.
But Horford's points are so much more important.
Yeah, it's the impact he brings.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's not on the box score. But if you watch the games, you can tell. When he's down there in the paint, the Miami guards think twice about driving in, and you can visibly see that, and then they pass out, and then they struggle. And back to the original question about the series, I want to point out and give flowers to PJ Tucker, because it was actually very funny. You'd see him so many times in that corner waiting for his corner three, because that's what he does on offense. He just runs to the corner, and then he waits for somebody to ISO and miss the shot. Then he sprints in and tips the rebound out. And we'd see that so many times last night. And I want to commend his grit and his grind, because he was getting in there. I think he caught some elbows to the stomach or something, but he was grinding in the trenches, getting those rebounds, and he's already undersized, and he knows that, so he's got to use his vert and his offensive awareness to get those rebounds. So I always want to tip my cap to those rebounders because I love to rebound, so that's what it is. But yeah, flowers to PJ because he was grinding, and it felt like a lot of times when he was out there, he was putting in the most effort, and the Miami Heat were just missing shots.
Yeah, and
Yeah, go ahead, Dove.
that kind of goes to Shub's big issue with Spoelstra. You know, PJ was the backup center for Miami the last 2 games, right? The last 2 games,
Yeah,
something like
yep,
that.
yeah.
Where you have it's Deadman, right? I always confuse
Deadman.
Deadman and Yurtseven just not playing at all. And you're just leaving it to, like you said, the 6'6" PJ Tucker to just kind of bang in the paint, especially when you've got the bench guys being Duncan Robinson, who can't defend, Max Strus, who's gritty but short. Jimmy Butler will be off the floor, or he's, even when he's on the floor right now, he's injured. So
Depot.
Depot's been
Vincent's a
decently
liability.
defensively.
No, Depot's been great. I was just saying he'd be on the floor a lot
Oh.
when PJ's playing center.
Yeah. But
He's
realistically,
bricking a lot.
you're still not really stopping shit if your 2 defensive stoppers are PJ Tucker at the center and Depot at the 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I think they were playing PJ at the 4 and Bam at the 5, though.
Well, just when Bam was off the floor,
Deadman didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure PJ started yesterday.
No. PJ
PJ
starts and then he comes out first. Like he'll play like the first 4 minutes. And then he'll come out, and when Adebayo comes out, PJ will come back in.
Yeah. And obviously he is the closer defensively, one of the closers defensively for that team. But like she was saying, Deadman and Yurtseven did not play. Their other 2 bigs did not play. So that leaves PJ Tucker to be the other big, and Cody Martin. Caleb.
He's been playing well, though, at least yesterday.
He gives good minutes. I was going to say.
Yeah, he dropped the most points in the 3rd quarter.
Good segue to give PJ Tucker's flowers. I think this is a good series to have PJ Tucker as that de facto backup 5, because you got Rob Williams and Al Horford, who are both undersized bigs already. So it kind of allows PJ Tucker to not get exposed as much by a dominant big man. Like PJ Tucker's not guarding Joel Embiid. Like that wasn't going to happen last series. Embiid was hurt, but that's the thing. And this is a good time to talk about the Heat and their lineup and their injuries. Like obviously Tyler Hero was playing like shit. Can kind of blame that on his injuries. Jimmy Butler playing injured. Kyle Lowry is playing injured. He got some cardio yesterday. 0 points, 0 assists, 1 rebound in 24 minutes. Gabe Vincent has shown up on the injury report. PJ Tucker on the injury report. Strus on the injury report. Martin on the injury report. This team is obviously banged up. Everyone's banged up.
Adebayo didn't look 100% either.
I was going to say Adebayo is the only one that doesn't have an excuse, because he's been getting locked up despite not showing up on the injury report. Like I said, this is what people say at this point in the year: if you're not injured, you're like superhuman. Like they've been playing basketball for 9 months straight. Like they are going to be banged up, but that's no excuse for everyone on the team to be atrocious. Like we were talking about in a previous podcast that the Heat have so many players that they can play and slot into that rotation guys. They have rotation guys who don't even play. But this is getting pathetic because they're Spoelstra's trying other things. They are not working. I think the next game is probably the nail in the coffin for them, unless Jimmy Butler puts in one of his 50 points, 50 burgers.
But from what we've seen, is that going to matter? I'm not going to lie. Like, I think the Jimmy, 40, 50 ball is kind of inevitable at this point, unless he's really, really too hurt to play, which it kind of looked like last night. He did go 4 for 18 last night.
He was missing wide open mid ranges. That's just not him. He doesn't miss those.
He missed a point blank layup in the first 2 minutes of the game.
I saw
which
that.
was lit because I had Robert Williams' first basket and I was like, oh, it's over. And then it lipped out and I started going nuts.
Did Rob Williams get the first basket?
He did get the first basket.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
It was in Al Horford took like a turnaround J and he got the offensive rebound put back.
Very nice.
Win's
a win. Love the win.
Something else I will say about this series, though, is especially the last 2 games. The Tyler Hero was not playing well when he was playing, but the Heat look like they can't score without him. And Bam and Jimmy have been not playing well either, but they need another guy that can score, and that's Tyler Hero, and they've missed that. So they either need a Tyler Hero game, a Jimmy game, or a Bam game, which they can get a lot of the time when they're all healthy. But obviously Tyler and Jimmy and maybe Bam aren't healthy. So it's been tough for them.
I want to go back to what she was saying earlier, that Bam does not have an excuse. He doesn't look injured to me. You know, stats first and then talk about what we're looking at second. In the fourth quarter, Bam had the majority of his points. He had 8 points in the fourth quarter. A lot of it was in garbage time, really just kind of just chucking up shots, those mid-range shots that he loves. But between him, Max Strus, Kyle Lowry, and Victor Oladipo in the third quarter, how many points would you guess they scored together?
Say that again. Vincent, Strus, Depot, and Bam.
Vincent, Strus, Depot, Lowry, Bam.
Oh, Lowry.
Vincent,
Obviously
Strus,
zero
Depot,
there.
Lowry.
For the game or for
The
third
for
quarter.
the third quarter for the
probably
third quarter.
probably nothing.
Yeah,
0
they're probably
points.
Yeah.
Wow.
0 points.
The other
So,
game,
like-
all their starters only had 18 points.
So, you talk about Bam being injured and whatever, this and that. Nah, he just literally does not want to hoop. Like when he gets the ball in his regular spot in the high post, whatever, by the free throw line, and he goes to either play make or drive, this man is taking a fading two over Rob Williams, Al Horford, Grant Williams. Like sometimes they're not even contesting. That's not a good shot ever. And he's damn near taking that 50% of the time. He should be driving, literally anything else, to be honest with you. He doesn't look at the basket if Rob Williams is in the paint. I think the Al Horford thing is true, but I think right now, so far in this series, it's been Rob Williams sitting in the paint, and
Versus
Bam
yes.
will, do his little jab to the left of the basket and then look up, and Rob Williams is standing there, and he'll just turn back around and pass it out. I don't know. It's really making me question a lot of takes I've had on Bam.
Rob Williams has done really well on Bam this series.
Yeah.
And the game that Rob Williams didn't play was the game that Bam went off. So there's obviously something there.
Yeah, I would like Bam had a 30-point game this series. I will say Bam's not known for being a scorer. That's the biggest. Like he can't be the star if he's not
But-
going to put up the points. Like
No, but
He's not even scoring 10.
He has to. He has shown us in the past, in the regular season, that he has the ability.
he does. I was looking at his game highs. He has a career high of 41.
That's not his role right now.
It's not his role necessarily in the offense. However, his role in the offense is to be one of the primary playmakers, the guy who the ball goes
He's
to
going to
almost
have the
every
ball.
possession.
Yeah, he's going to have the ball in his hands
That's
the
Tyler
second most.
Hero getting him the ball, though.
Okay,
They don't have Tyler Hero
No.
right now.
Exactly.
more often than not, it is Bam in a high post situation every single play with the ball. Every time. That's probably like 80% of their plays. Sure, Tyler Hero is running off ball, off screen. He's normally
the one setting
running,
it up. That's
he's normally
why they
running the
needed him,
pick.
bro.
The whole team is setting up. There's not one individual on the team setting up, but Bam often
their
is the one
two-man
who's
game
getting
is
the
different.
ball every single possession consistently and making a play in the regular season in their
I think that's
typical
more so
offense.
Jimmy.
It's not Bam's job to score, but if he's going to be part of their big three, and if Jimmy's not healthy and not
And if
performing
he
well,
can do
he
it.
needs to be the one to step up.
Especially if he can do it.
And if
we've seen him do it.
If he's not going to put up the 30 points or the 25 points, then we know Bam is one of those guys who touches the ball on nearly every possession and distributes the ball. He's got to put up more than one assist. He's got to create more baskets for his teammates. And that's just not happening. Obviously, when the Heat have guys like Max Strus, who's been shooting the ball pretty well in the postseason, go 0 for 9 on the day, and then that allows Duncan Robinson to have his opportunity. You can say if he's cold all he wants. He plays 27 minutes yesterday, and he went 4 for 12. Like That's like good,
From
like
three
good
or from the field?
from the field. He went 3 for 10 from three.
Oh,
Gabe
geez.
Gabe Vincent was the second leading scorer with 15 points off the bench. He only shot 1 for 7 from three. Max Strus 0 for 9. PJ Tucker was 3 for 7, 1 for 5 from three. Kyle Lowry 0 for 6, 0 for 5 from three. Jimmy Butler shot 1 for 5 from three. Jimmy Butler shot 5 threes yesterday for some reason. Like he should not. That's not his shot. He knows that. Victor Oladipo went 1 for 7 from the field. He does not look. He's not, obviously he's not the same as he once was. He's not looking good.
Quick rewind. Well,
He tried to jump. I saw him try to jump, and he could barely leave his feet.
well, are you talking about the one where he got fouled?
Yeah,
That was because he got fouled. and
I
he
know,
didn't-
but
he didn't
like-
really go up for it fully. But
Yeah.
back to the Jimmy thing, really, really quick. The fact I don't know. Someone needs to figure this out. The last time Jimmy had a game where he shot more threes than free throws, he only shot 4 free throws last night. So
Yeah.
That's probably like Timberwolves days.
is it even like I
Maybe
don't
know if
even
it's
know?
a-
Chicago days.
it
Has
might
he
not
ever
might not have ever
done that?
happened. It might
I-
not.
Yeah,
have ever
Yeah,
that's
happened.
ever
fully. He
happened.
never shoots more than 4.
Like
Never.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, I just wanted to say this is tough because a lot of those missed shots were open. So, I mean, these are NBA players. They get paid millions to do this. So, you give them that shot 3 times, they're going to make 2 of them. Wide open, I mean. So, I think to say going into Boston, if you give them the same looks, they're gonna make them all would totally not be true. But I'm gonna say if they go into Boston tomorrow night and get those similar looks wide open, still getting second chance opportunities, I think it'll be a way different outcome than last night because I mean clearly we just saw them have an off night. They were getting good looks. It was just like that Mavs game where they shot 3 for 18 from deep in the first quarter. I mean, you're getting good looks. You got to shoot it. And
They also won the offensive rebound battle by 13.
I know
Who?
that was PJ Tucker. That's what I'm saying. And
Really? Miami
Bam
won.
was like there in the middle standing, but like PJ was
6 and 6
the
for
one,
Bam
like,
and PJ.
poking it out. I don't know.
I'll give you guys a couple last things to think about. Like you said,
Oh,
Duval,
shouts out Derek White. We didn't even do that yet. Shouts
Yeah.
out Derek White.
Let's
just
Congratulations
talk
on
about the
having a
Heat.
child.
we're
Yeah,
still
we
Oh, I
haven't
thought
talked
we-
about the
oh.
Celtics.
My
Yeah,
bad.
last thing with the Heat.
I thought we were just talking.
Jimmy Butler's been asked before about like why he doesn't shoot more threes, and he says like I don't purposely not shoot threes. I just shoot what the defense gives me. If they're giving me threes, I'll take them. And like he's not a bad shooter, but like that's not the best part of his game. He'd much rather take a shot closer. They shot 7 for 45 from three as a team. That's not going to happen next game. Like they're going to shoot better. But having said that, they need to shoot better looks. They need to be more patient. That's the biggest thing. They need to be more patient with their shot selection. And when they are open, they need to cash in. And neither of that happened last game. And if they can fix that, they're obviously going to be in a very good spot to win. Last thing about the Heat, do they regret giving up their assets for Kyle Lowry? This is kind of a topic we can save for another day, but Kyle Lowry's obviously injured. He missed time due to personal reasons. Can't fault him for that over the regular season. They were the 1 seed, so it didn't really matter too much his missed time. But they gave up Precious and a first for
And Dragic.
Precious and Dragic, and maybe a first, if I'm remembering correctly, for
I
Kyle
thought
Lowry.
it was 3 firsts.
Was it 3 firsts? They gave up a lot for Kyle Lowry, and he has not shown up. That could be a topic for another day if anyone wants to tackle that right now. If not, we'll cover Derek White and the rest of the role players, Celtics, not Al Horford, to wrap up the Eastern Conference Finals. But
I'll say this quickly. Oh, Doug, you go first.
Yeah, real quick note. Congratulations to Kyle Lowry on absolutely finessing the cities of both Miami and Toronto for giving him, what is it, like 40 mil until he's 39 or
3
whatever.
mil, 3-year, 90 mil. Yeah.
Yeah, so 30 mil or whatever until he's 39. And Toronto gave him a statue. So hats off to you, Kyle.
we'll have more to talk about later for sure.
Dude, what were you going to say?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna keep it quick. We'll go into depth about those moves. We'll have an episode in the off season about it for sure. But to sneak peek it, I'll just say my take. At the time, I think the Heat were in a they're in win now. They needed a point guard. So I understood the mindset of going for Lowry. Giving up that much at the time seemed like a lot, and it still is. But I think that's what they wanted to win now, and that's what it was going to take. So that's what you do in win now situations. In hindsight, we all know it's 2020. I think it was a bad move, and they're not going to be looking to ship him off, but they're definitely going to be looking
It's a step
ahead.
back. Yeah, it's a step
exactly.
back. They took a step back by acquiring him.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
But Celtics, we talked about Al Horford. We alluded to the injuries of Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams. Their bench doesn't really show up really. Besides, it's a different guy every time. It also depends on who starts. But what do y'all got to say? What do y'all? I don't really have much to say on the Celtics.
I
think
actually didn't have that much else to say.
Yeah.
Other than like,
Yeah,
Talked
so
about
Get
Al
to
Horford.
preach.
We talked
Yep.
about Al Horford. Jason Tatum's been really inconsistent.
Jaylen Brown has been really inconsistent.
Jaylen Brown's been really inconsistent. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams obviously have injuries that they've been dealing with. They've been playing decent when they've played. But someone that's really been stepping up that we just mentioned was Derek White. And he's been playing really well. And he's been stepping up and he's been scoring the ball too, which is not like he's not a bad scorer, but that's not what he's known for. He had the first 7 points for the Celtics in game 3 and then came in off the bench in game 4 and just he looked great. Marcus Smart had some foul trouble. He came in, he scored 11 points in first or second quarter, maybe just the first half. But ever since someone talked shit about the day after his kid was born, he played terribly. He has been playing unreal basketball, and I think he saw that tweet.
Yeah, he was the perfect addition for the Celtics, replacing Dennis Schroeder, who
That's who they gave up.
he's gonna go down as one of the making the worst decisions in NBA history by not re-signing with the Lakers.
Fully.
But yeah, Derek White has always he killed all the Western Conference teams in the playoffs and the regular season. He's just the definition of a consistent NBA player. And that's something the Celtics were lacking off the bench with all their young talent off the bench and Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard, and then all their two-way guys that don't see the floor. But yeah, he's been a great factor to their success and got to give him his flowers. Y'all think it's over heading back to Boston? Quickly run through the prediction there.
I don't think it's over.
Who do you got? You got the Heat or you got Boston?
I have Boston, but
So it's over.
So it's over.
if, and I'm saying if
I don't think it's over, but I have Boston.
Jimmy and Bam both play well and Tyler Hero's back, then it's a game. Because
I don't think he's coming back.
If Jimmy can play basketball, he's gonna go all out and he's gonna drop at least 30 points. But we'll see. Boston's taking it in 6, which was my original prediction.
I have no clue what I predicted, but yeah, Boston tonight or
Tomorrow.
Boston tomorrow, definitely, or not definitely, but more than likely.
And even if they lose, I still have them in 7.
Yeah,
I want to quickly shout out back to the Derek White thing real fast. I want to shout out the Spurs organization because they are always finding not no names, but players under the radar and bringing them up and absolutely making them grinders. And Derek White is one of them. So shouts out to them. They gave the Spurs Derek White. I mean, the Spurs gave to the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. And now the Celtics have a killer. So shouts out Derek White and shouts out Peyton Pritchard. I know he hasn't been shooting the best, but I think he's really consistent for the minutes that he's getting. And it's not even like Like you can't ask much from him on defense because you know they're gonna come at him.
Just
But
shouts out Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah,
man.
like on
just
offense,
shouts out
he's
Peyton Pritchard.
taking those threes. Like you just have to.
He's
shout
there.
out.
He's there.
Exactly. He's putting in the work. He's punching his time clock. That's what you can ask for. And tomorrow night, fuck the Celtics. We got Heat. We're going Game 7, boys. Everybody up.
Everybody up.
We got Game 7. It makes for good content. That's what we want here. And the NBA wants a Game 7. I'll tell you that. With the Mavs and Warriors series going the way it is, we'll talk
Not
about
if it's
it.
what we've gotten in Game 7 so far.
Oh, yeah. We'll see an unsung hero, maybe a Peyton Pritchard game winner. We'll see.
I
That
doubt
would be
it.
nuts.
He would not even be on the floor.
You never know. With all these injuries, Doug, that we just talked about, you never know.
I'm
It
gonna run
is
Al
true.
Horford at the point before I run. No, I'm kidding.
So let's talk about the Western Conference Finals. I think there's a lot. This series is a lot more cut and dry. I think one team is just better than the other. They're outmatching the other team. I predicted Warriors in 5, and that might come to fruition. We'll start off with Dallas because I think there's less to talk about there. Luka has been playing well, but in order for them to win, he needs to play even better than he's playing, and he's putting up like 30 points a game. So the role players are not showing up like they did in the previous series against Phoenix. So yeah, I think that's it with Dallas. Like unless Jalen Brunson's going to show up like he did in round 1, or Dinwiddie's going to show up like he's the guy with the Brooklyn Nets again, I think it's pretty cut and dry. Like it's over.
Yeah. Talk about live by the 3 and die by the 3, man. I mean, that's as simple as that. The role players have to hit their shots. Bullock has been inconsistent. He played a good game 4. Kleber has been bad since
Terrible.
Everyone's been bad besides game 4. Not everyone, but all the guys that were really helping them against the Suns. Dinwiddie's been fine. Brunson's been fine. But they need a Bertans, they need a Kleber, and they need a Bullock to step up and hit the shots to put them over the top. And that's not been happening.
You can get away with winning games when you only have one guy putting up 30 points in the first 2 rounds. Once you get to the third round, those conference finals, if you only have one guy giving you all of your points, it's not sustainable unless you're locking down on defense. And that's not something Dallas is really known for, especially against the most lethal offense in the league.
The series is a snack wrap. I'll see you later. Just gifting the Warriors a championship run, but that's okay. I want to tip the cap, give the flowers to the Mavericks organization on a great season.
Oh, they'll be back.
Of course they'll be back. Luka's a generational talent. We all know that. Mavs won the trade for Luka Trey. They won that. Oh.
Hot take alert.
I don't think that is hot take, but yeah, I mean, just shouts out, live by the 3, die by the 3. I love it. I mean, I just love that. That's the philosophy every college team should run, and we'll have the most electric games we've ever seen. But that's a whole different conversation. Yeah, I mean, the Warriors, they're the Warriors. That's what we're gonna expect from them. They're vets. And it's going to be pretty tough for Miami or Boston to knock them off. This will be it'll be a good one tonight. Yeah. I'll quickly give my prediction. I got the Mavs though. Tonight I got the Mavs.
You're going rogue today, JD. JD, you're going rogue.
I mean, it's for the content. I want to see a game 6, and then Clay is just going to slice and dice them.
I agree. I think the Mavericks are going to take it tonight. I think they're going to get out to a hot start, and they're just going to ride it, but they're going to lose in game 6 just when they think they can force a 7, just when they think they can be the first team to come back from 3-0. They're going to go up by 10 points at some point in game 6, and the Warriors in the third quarter will take it, and it'll be over.
backtracking a little bit, Dove, anything to say on Dallas or go right into Golden
I'm
State
not.
talk?
I'm not gonna lie. I think if you're Dallas, you take your dubs throughout the regular season, like Duve said, and the postseason. Be glad that you were here.
Just happy to
And
be
then
here.
kind of just move on to the next
Soak it
season,
in,
knowing
boys.
move on to the next season knowing that this is not gonna work.
One
Simple
question
as
I
that.
will ask is, it's the Warriors, so I'm leaning towards no. But if the Warriors win tonight, they have a week off until the finals. Does that help them? Does that hurt them? Will they
Doesn't
be
matter.
rusty?
It doesn't
I'll
matter.
tell you, it doesn't hurt. It
Yeah,
doesn't
It
hurt.
doesn't
I think
necessarily.
I think it only helps because you got guys like Andre Iguodala could give you very important finals minutes as a former finals MVP. You got Otto Porter and you got Gary Payton all recovering from injuries. And then Steph and Clay are, we know they and Draymond all dealt with injuries this year. I think the week off can only help them.
Yeah. Some teams get in a weird funk after not playing, but the Warriors are not that team.
And maybe Jordan Poole will take this week to get it together.
Oh no, he's gonna collect his bag from Sana for doing the clothing.
I don't know what you're
That's what
talking
he's
about.
gonna do.
No free promo. No free promo.
I don't know what you're talking about there. I will say, like, Steve Kerr, I've given him flack myself. He's gotten flack because it's like he's coaching one of the best teams of all time. He has coached one of the best teams of all time. And like the talent that he's coached, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond, Clay, um, you could say that like anyone could coach those guys. Like anyone.
Zaza,
I mean, Andrew Bogut, Festus Ezeli, like
Eric Pascal,
Barbosa.
like
Sean Livingston.
I've given him shit because it's like I don't think Steve Kerr's that good of a coach. I think he just like coaches very good players. Like we saw with Luke Walton. Like Luke Walton, obviously he went to the Kings. Like no one will do anything with the Kings, or and then the Lakers. Like no one's doing shit with a lot with those teams really. But Luke Walton was unreal with the Warriors as a head coach. I think it doesn't hurt Steve Kerr, but I will give Steve Kerr some credit. His rotation management has been like impressive. Like he knows when to ride the hot hand. He knows when to give it to the like ride the guys, start the guys. He put Steph Curry off the bench. Like takes a lot of balls to do that as a head coach. Saw what he did pregame 2 days ago after the shooting. Like he talks about real world shit going on. Like that's important stuff as like a coach to their players and for the league, for someone like that important to acknowledge things like that. And like pretty much every guy on the Warriors has played meaningful minutes at some point in the playoffs. And that's something that like when you got guys like Kuminga who have visible talent and Moses Moody who have visible talent, and you know they're capable of putting up 20 points in a playoff game, but then the next game they're playing 0 minutes. Like that's a tough decision, but his players respect him for that. And I've changed my stance on Steve Kerr entirely. I think Steve Kerr is a pretty good head coach, and I think the Warriors are poised for another championship. I think they're ending it in 5. Um, and yeah, that's what I got to
So
say.
let's get on to the real interesting, or not even get onto because it's more of just a guess. Some pre-finals talk because I think that's really what we're all waiting for. This is shaping up to be a very entertaining final series. Hopefully, I mean, we don't know for sure, but Celtics versus Warriors could be. You
I
got a
think it
lot
could
of
be
really
a
good
great
matchups.
series. I think they match up really well because with that Derek White acquisition, they can now have 3 defenders on the floor in him, Smart, and Jaylen Brown that can possibly guard the lineup of Clay, Curry, and Poole all at the same time. Because that's one of the lineups that has been almost impossible to guard throughout this playoffs is Clay, Poole, and Curry all on the floor at the same time, because there's no 3 good guards on one team that can defend these guys. So I think that with those 3, with Horford, with Robert Williams and Grant Williams, then they'll be able to match up really well against Golden State.
Very, very well said. Does anyone have anything to say on the Warriors side before we pivot?
Yeah, I'll say two things. One of them is longer, one of them shorter. The shorter one, I'll say for the finals talk, I mean, fully healthy, I think Boston gives them a better run for their money. But with that being said, either Miami or Boston, whoever plays the Warriors, I think it's still Warriors in 4 or 5. And then my next thing was about Steve Kerr because I really wanted to say this point about what Shub said. I think his better rotations, his ability to bench Steph, all those things that you mentioned are a testimony to his experience. And we know he played with Jordan. He had a great, incredible playing career, and now he's coaching some of the best players ever. We said that, but I think it's because he's been here so many times. And I mean, it's just at this point, the Warriors have to just think like this is just another game. Like, but these young guys on the Mavs are thinking like, holy shit, like this is one of the biggest stages ever. And I mean, you got Draymond just dancing and all that stuff. So I think it's just a testimony to their experience as a whole and how poised they are, because I think they know it, we know it, fucking the Mavs know it, that they're not losing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well said. One thing I will say about Steve Kerr real quick, I wanted to say this earlier, is I respect him as a person and a coach. And something we've seen this season is coaches with really good players don't always get it done, aka Steve Nash. He had one of the best groups of talent on a team ever, and they just couldn't figure it out. Obviously, there was a lot more than just talent that was keeping them from being the team they could have been. But Steve Kerr's done really well with managing this talent, keeping his role players important in the lineup, and just making sure that whoever's on the floor is going to put in the effort and they're going to get the results that he wants. And then just to wrap up with the finals talk, the lineup I'm putting on the floor, if I'm the Celtics, if the Warriors have the death lineup in, I'm putting Marcus Smart on Steph Curry. I'm putting Jaylen Brown on Clay. I'm putting Derek White on Jordan Poole, Tatum on Wiggins, Horford on Draymond Green. And I think that's the lineup that gets it done.
If it's the Celtics in the finals, they're almost definitely running the Looney lineup. But I get what you're saying. When they are running the death lineup comes out,
they'll definitely start those 5 with Looney. But when that lineup comes in, that's who I'm putting on the floor to stop them.
I think what like you were saying, Jack, like with Steve Nash, like not being able to do much with some of the best talent rooms in the NBA. I think like that comes the difference between a guy like Steve Kerr and Steve Nash is Steve Kerr can unlock those supporting cast guys, those Kumingas, the Otto Porters, the Bielitsas, the JTAs, like those guys, like they're honestly not that much difference in skill between the supporting cast that Steve Nash had with the Nets, but Steve Kerr knows exactly when to deploy them, who to match them up against. Like that's why you see these different lineups from series to series and from game to game. Whoever the Mavericks are rolling out there, they'll match. Like they dictate. Then they're also dictating what guys have to come out for the Mavericks. Like you have a guy like Otto Porter who's playing big minutes against Denver, now injured. He's not he just lost his spot in the rotation because he got hurt. Like, but that's not to say he won't come back if they need him in the finals. So like Steve Kerr, like he knows, he's thinking, he's playing chess while the other coaches are playing checkers.
I don't know how to say this without sounding rude, like an asshole, but I kind of fundamentally disagree with your entire argument right there. About the difference between Steve Nash and Steve Kerr. I think there are some.
I think Steve Nash is a bad coach. Is that like if that's
no. I think there were some Hold on. Let me
Jude
say
said.
what I'm even saying first. God damn, you guys are rude. I was saying, I think some points you made, especially about the rotations with Steve Nash, are completely fair, especially when it comes to things like rotations and game time, during game decisions, in game decisions. But to say that it's not a personnel issue, a team building issue, a culture issue, a communication issue, rather than saying it's a Steve Nash issue, because I think we all no. I think we all know more than anything that the true issue with the Nets was not some outside force, that no one can control. It was, you have 3 superstars on a team that have huge egos and don't get along. And then you have a bunch of mid to trash role players who do not fit and are not built to fit with these superstars. That's the reason why the team failed. That's the reason why shit doesn't look right.
Steve Kerr.
Just saying.
Steve Kerr took. Are you done?
I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Steve Kerr also coached Kevin Durant, who, as we know, has a massive ego. Steve Kerr coached superstar teams with mediocre supporting cast talent to the finals, to NBA championships without immediate success.
But the superstars he had,
and then added Kevin Durant, and they did not miss a beat and won another championship.
Because the team that KD joined was a team with a set culture, with no ego, a team with no ego.
But Draymond and KD did not get along that well.
Yes, and that's why KD left. That's why it didn't work out in that.
Well, they won 2 championships.
But it did work out.
I'm talking about long term. You're the one who's saying he left. Okay. Besides the fact, my point still stays, and that goes to my point, is that when you build a team, you can't just throw together talent and say, "Oh, this is gonna work." And if it doesn't, it's on the coach.
Team in the NBA.
No, you cannot. That's the whole reason that teams like the Nets, teams like the Lakers fail, because organizations think, "Oh, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, you can just throw Russell Westbrook in there and it'll work. No worries. You can just take that, and now whatever role players we can get. Same thing with the Nets. Okay, James Harden isn't working out. What are we going to do? Let's go get Ben Simmons, because that's the guy that we've wanted since the beginning. And now he doesn't play for us the entirety of the playoffs. That causes more issues with the already disheveled roster. People who are already do not like each other at all. Clearly, it has not been any more obvious that a team in the past, couple of years of whatever. You had a guy twice in a row asked to be traded away.
I think your argument of you can't just throw 3 superstars on the team. You should be able to. You can't just say, "Oh,
according to math, but
Tyus Jones would fit better on the Lakers, not Russell fucking Westbrook, not MVP Russell Westbrook."
Yes, that's what I would say.
Tyus Jones would be a better fit. No, you're taking Russell Westbrook 10 out of 10 times because he's Russell Westbrook.
See, no, but that's the thing. That's my disagreement with you. Is a team that wins championships, like you said, the Warriors, when they won originally, it was Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, and role players.
I think you're underestimating
role player.
You're either underestimating the Nets role players or overestimating the Warriors role players.
I'm not really estimating either role players.
You also said the Nets said the Nets had shit role players, and
so did the Warriors.
You disagreed with me.
I'm not making a comment. My point is I'm not making a comment on the coach's ability. I'm not trying to make a comment on the coach's ability, because I think it has way more to do. I think a team's success has way more to do on the construction of the team and the fit of the pieces that you put together.
You saying it doesn't matter who coaches? Because this is what we were saying. It doesn't matter.
You can't just take my words and do absolutes. I'm saying it's not what I value as much as the team construction. You put a team together that fits and has pieces that can coexist and benefit from each other.
But that
Yeah,
was
sure,
that was the whole start. Hang
there's
on. That was the whole start of bringing up like Steve Kerr and giving him his props. Is I said I used to think Steve Kerr was not that good of a coach because anyone could coach that Warriors team. Like, are you saying if Steve Kerr and Steve Nash say they switch places, would Steve Nash
no,
be leading the
all I'm
Warriors
saying is
to the
you
finals
said
and Steve
that,
Kerr
you
would
said
be?
that, and then you said Steve Nash is, on the other hand, a great example of the flip side of Steve Kerr.
No, you
where
did.
a team.
I didn't mention Steve Nash, did I?
Yes.
I mentioned Steve Nash first.
I mentioned Steve Nash.
No, you did not.
I brought
Shub
up Steve
literally
Nash.
said Steve Nash.
I
I
brought up
don't
Steve
think I
Nash.
did.
We
Let
can
me
go
say
back
this.
in
Let
the
me say
tape.
this. Let me say
We
this.
can go back in the tape.
Something we will all agree on is that the Warriors and the Nets had very different situations, but from what we've seen, Steve Kerr, good coach, Steve Nash, bad coach. So we'll see how that progresses, and I think it'll stay like that. And I don't think Steve Nash will be around for too long.
And I don't understand why you guys never understand my point in debates, because I'm
Because you're
literally
wrong. You're fucking
because
wrong.
Minden, what
Always.
Minden just said is what I said at the beginning of what I was saying, yes, I agree. Steve Nash is a much better coach. And there are issues with what Steve Nash is doing when he's coaching, as
And
in
that's all I
in-game
was trying to say.
adjustments and general rotations. I said that at the beginning of it. All I was saying is you saying that the Brooklyn Nets failing because Steve Nash is a bad coach is a stupid
That's not
argument.
I don't think I ever said that. I don't think I said
Yeah,
that
nobody ever said
the
that.
only
That's-
reason the Brooklyn Nets failed was because Steve
No, you
Nash
didn't
was
say.
coaching.
You said you were comparing the quality of Steve Kerr's coaching when you're saying that Steve Kerr has an immense value to the success of the Warriors. Am I wrong? So then
think
when
he
you
does.
flip and say and use Steve Kerr, even if Minden is the one who brought him up, you still used him as the flip example of Steve Kerr using the Nets superstars as well as, the opposite example. And I said, no, that's wrong. It's team construction.
That's
that was
why
the issue.
before
All
I
right, I
said
think you're
that,
talking out
Not
your ass.
coaching.
before I said Steve Kerr is better than Steve Nash, I said obviously there's more there than talent. That's an
I'm arguing
issue.
with Shub. I'm
Yeah,
arguing
it's
with
because
what
they're on
Shub
my
said.
side. They're both on
Saying
my
what
side.
Shub said.
I just want to say one thing here, and this might clear something up, it might not, but I think one key difference between Nash and Kerr, their situations aside, because Nash has way more age on his roster right now compared to Kerr.
I
And
don't even agree with that. Not seriously, but
what do
continue.
you mean? They have way
I
more
don't know if
veterans.
I don't know if that's necessarily
No, no,
true.
no.
They
but
Like
each have a mix of
average age,
old and
average age
young.
might end up being around the same. But
Yeah.
go
I
ahead. Sorry,
disagree.
dude.
But all I want to say is Shu brought up the point with Kerr, how he has the ability to unlock these role players' abilities and make them play on the same, not the same level, but at or below the Curry, the Clay, and the Draymond. And that's what makes the Warriors so great is he can incorporate these players. And I think that's because Kerr wasn't the star player like Nash. He was the bench player when he played. So he
It's because
understands
Kerr
these
runs the
situations.
system. It's because Kerr runs the system.
That
That's
he
why.
made.
Nash makes the system.
It's
That's
the coach's decision who
completely different.
plays.
No, but okay.
I'm just saying he's been in that situation
fundamentally,
before.
I don't disagree with the fact that Steve
No.
Nash has shown us that he's a bad coach.
I'm not saying that. I'm just
So,
saying Kerr has a different ability to level with these guys that Nash can't do. Nash can't
Agreed.
sit there and say, hey, this is the situation that you're in when you're coming off the bench. And Kerr can. That's all I'm saying. That's the difference here. So Kerr has an extra ability to level and talk to his players and make them understand his point. When Nash, on the other hand, it just seems like he's cool with Durant and Kyrie, and then everything else he just didn't know what else to do. He's a player coach.
All right. I can't wait to listen to this back. We're this is
I
not
think
going
you're
anywhere.
gonna feel stupid, Shub. I'm not gonna lie.
I think you are. Personally, I think when we both listen to this back, I think we're both gonna feel stupid because this argument was stupid. But I think Dove, we're all four of us are basketball fans. We all pay attention to basketball. And there's 3 of us here who are on one side of the spectrum and 1 who's on the other.
No, but I think the issue is that you guys
I
don't
think Doug's
actually
agreeing
listen.
with us.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's
That's what I'm
agreeing,
trying to
but he's
tell
just
you.
saying
No,
the
Is you
Nets
don't
have a
actually
bigger
listen.
problem.
He's
Right, you
arguing
don't
with
listen-
himself. You're
No,
arguing with yourself because like you
you're
found
the
it.
one
You
who's
found
arguing
a
back
new
with
topic.
me.
You found a new topic in something that like you nitpick one specific thing out of one thing I say
No,
and say
because to me, when you said what you said about Steve Kerr and Steve
no. I
Nash,
didn't say shit about Steve Nash.
oh my god, I
I
cannot
did.
wait to clip this
I
shit.
did
I'm
talk
gonna
about
clip
Steve
this
Nash,
shit.
but I was not the first person. To
I will
mention
tell
Steve
you
Nash.
I didn't-
exactly what happened. I said on the topic of Steve Kerr, I respect him as a person and a coach, and he has done a lot better with good players than somebody like Steve Nash, even though there are things on the Nets besides talent that are problematic.
Right, and then Shub went on to say to talk about the things that Steve Nash was doing, like the rotation issues, like etc., and that those were a big issue
Okay.
and
All
reason why the Nets failed.
All right.
And all I was saying is, in my opinion, it's
Let's
way.
wrap
It's
it up. Let's
yeah.
wrap it up. Let's
Okay.
wrap it up.
Okay. Okay.
This was a fun discussion. I could talk about it for 10 more hours, but for the sake of the audience, for the sake of the episode, we're going to wrap it up here. So to recap, talked about both the conference final series pretty in-depthly, even though in all transparency, heading into this episode, we did not really want to talk about it that much, but that's the glory of talking about basketball. It goes on to tangents. We can just talk about whatever we want. So we're looking at a Celtics Warriors finals. We'll be back next week, Thursday, 100% to talk about. Will that be a preview of the finals at that point? Does anyone know? It would be yeah. So that will be our official
before.
NBA Finals
Day
preview
of.
show this Thursday. Be there. Keep up with us on social media, Apple
Wait.
Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Yes.
We have time for this. Quick picks. Tonight's and tomorrow games.
Well,
Go.
we just already did them.
We already
I know,
did
to
that.
Yeah,
recap for the viewers. For the
Okay,
viewers.
recap.
We have time.
I
We have
got
time.
I got the Celtics and the Warriors closing it out in their next games.
Same.
Celtics, Mavericks.
I got game 7.
You got
Heat,
chaos.
and then
just-
Mavs.
Just straight chaos.
You got
Chaos.
chaos.
All the teams that are down are gonna win, according to you.
Just one. Just
All right.
one. All right.
Book it. You heard it
Ship
here
it.
first.
Oilers.
Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, at Hustle and Hoops on social, Hustle and Hoops YouTube. And we'll see you
And
next time.
shouts out this man for getting the first slam cover for Detroit Pistons since Grant Hill.
He's talking about Cade Cunningham for all those listening.
Oh, facts.
All right. We'll see you next time. Peace. Wait. And peace.